Sean,
Yes, sir.
honorable.
Father, thank you again for this day you've given us and all the days you give us, Father, and just go with us now as we come into this meeting here, Father. Thank you for our nation, our people, and we'll be sure to stop and thank you for all things good. In Jesus' name, amen.
I don't know. That might be one.
Yes, sir. Dick Black,
Here.
Carly Buzzard,
Here.
Bill England,
Honey.
Steve Austin,
Here.
Joe Bird,
Honey.
Sean Crittenden,
Amen.
Mike Dobbins,
Here.
Greg Cargus, Wanda Hatfield, Rex Jordan,
Here.
Mike Shambaugh,
Honey.
Mary Bakershaw,
Honey.
Eo Smith, Denise Taylor, Victoria Vesquez, David Walkingstick,
Honey.
Brian Warner.
Amen.
We have a quorum.
Like to ask for approval of minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On reports, well, we'll just, yeah, we'll go on. Get Marshall in. Behind her.
Good afternoon, Council, and happy Thanksgiving. The only thing I have to report is that we're winding down our lie heap. Be probably another week and a half of that, and but everything's going smoothly. This is primarily for elders and disabled, and then we'll look at the funding, and if funding allows, we will open it up to everybody. So we ought to know probably in December whether or not we're going to be able to do that. Hopefully, as we've done in the past, we'll be able to do a cooling program too. And but we just don't know yet. We're also in the middle of our coat voucher program, and that's an extension of the clothing voucher. So we're just busy down there. You have my report. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them or find out.
Any questions? Marcia?
I have a comment. Marcia, do you still provide, I guess there's an option for propane or firewood for the elderly?
Whatever their heating source is.
So that's an option.
Yeah, it's always, we even do some, I think it was probably been 12, 14 years now, we did a, those little heaters. We did a pilot, so
Yeah.
we still have a few of those pellet stoves.
Okay.
Or we help them. We don't have any pellet stoves, I'm sorry. Anyway, it was just a pilot project that we tried.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You want it?
I'm sorry? You should do a nice report. Yeah. Yes.
Marcia does everything well.
Yes, she is.
Appreciate you. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Michael is traveling to a federal highways meeting in New York, so I'm here to answer any questions you may have about our report. And one of the road staff is here also if there's any roads-related questions.
Any questions? Go ahead, Arnold.
Are you also answering the questions for water and sewer?
Yes.
And I tried to call you earlier in the week, Billy, but I had a lady that called me and she was buying a trailer, or buying a home, I believe, and she applied for water and sewer. But the person that she was buying from was non-Indian. So she got turned down, and I realized that was part of our policies. Now she tells me that she's got a contract for deed, but you're still telling her office telling her that she still doesn't qualify. Is that Is that right?
If the other party on the contract for deed is not a tribal member, then that is correct. If both parties are tribal members, then we can use a contract for deed and we treat it just like a lease.
Well, that doesn't sound right. What if they go and mortgage it and get a contract for deed from a bank?
Well, if they get a mortgage from a bank, the title will be in their name. They'll have a deed in their name with a mortgage attached to the property. A contract for deed just means they've got a contractual obligation with a person to purchase that property. And if they fulfill all the requirements of that contract, then the deed will be issued to them at the end of the term.
And so if they mortgage it from a bank and then they foreclose on it, then what's the difference?
Legally, I'm not sure. The issue is, in the IHS policy, the land that we serve has to be owned by a tribal member. And so if they have a contract for deed and both parties are tribal members, then we're okay. If the person they're buying the property from is not a tribal member, then technically the property is not owned by a tribal member until the deed's executed and transferred to them. And so that's kind of where we run into. And we usually encourage them in that case to go out and try to get a loan and buy the property outright and get a mortgage on it, and then that way they'll be eligible.
So the way I see it is if they bought it and mortgaged it through the bank, it doesn't make sense, something's not right here. What are we trying to protect?
We're just trying to follow the IHS policy, which
Yeah.
means we
So if
are
they-
expending funds on property that's owned by a tribal member.
And so if the bank foreclosed on them, they have to move off the property, so I don't really see the difference in it.
Well,
So I guess we probably need to lobby IHS to look at this.
well, there's a legal proceeding with a foreclosure. There's a legal procedure that they go through.
So they
With
could
a
be
con-
a legal proceeding through a contract for deed
Well,
also.
with a contract for deed, let's say you have a contract with me to purchase a piece of property, and you miss a payment. And if you miss that payment, you violated the terms of the contract, then I don't have to give you a deed. It's.
I don't know, I've never did that, so is that what it says?
Yes. If they violate the terms, then they don't have to issue them a deed. And so they've never owned the property, they basically just rented it.
Well, I guess my point is the bank, most of them are not Indian owned. They hold the mortgage to the land, so to me, it just doesn't seem a good policy. So is there some way that you could look at IHS policy and get another ruling on that to see? Because
I'd certainly be happy to try. When I started looking into it, they sent me an opinion that was drafted back in the 60s by the IHS General Counsel. I'd certainly be happy to look at it, but the way we've treated it recently is that if there's a contract for deed and both parties are tribal members, we will accept it and treat it like a lease. But if the owner of the property is not a tribal member, then we can't accept it.
and I could see that to a certain point, but I just looked at it the other way. If there's mortgage, they foreclose the mortgage, so what's the difference? Anyway, I know you had policy about the other part, so I will tell them and see if they can go and get a bank loan
Okay.
and do it that way. Okay. Thanks, sir.
You're welcome. And Mike?
I just have a question. Will you be here after the end of the meeting, or are you leaving as soon as you're done?
When I'm done, I'm headed to Shawnee to a tribal self-governance meeting.
Okay.
If you have anything,
Sure, yeah.
I'll be happy to.
Okay, thank you.
And anyone else? And so you're gonna do roads also?
Yes, if there's any issues with
Let's
roads.
just go ahead and skip on down to road issues, if anybody has one. You want to do a report on that first?
I don't have a written report in front of me. Michael didn't send me one to present, but if there's one in your packet.
Rocky Ford Community Building.
Mhm.
I think that low water washes out quite frequently, but have we tried to do anything there for at least their parking or the entrance to the community building?
I'm not sure, Regina, did you?
I'm not sure what school route.
No, Rocky Ford.
Rocky
Community
Ford,
Building.
we're going north. Would you look into that?
I sure will.
Okay, because we don't want to invest a whole lot of funds into the road if it washes out, but the parking area, but most of those people are elderly.
Mhm.
Will you look into that, would you please?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Leach Kenwood Road, you know, where the bridges were, that was, that work needed to be done. Very rough. I've had numerous phone calls and a couple of emails on that. Has that been started on fixing those bridges yet, do you know?
Leach Kenwood Road.
They are working on that right now. They are in liquidated damages on that project. But they are working on those, bridges right now, so hopefully they'll be passable soon. I know it's getting into the rainy season and stuff, but it's a problem.
Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you. Any timetable on when that may be completed?
Well, they're, I think, right at 270 days, liquidated damages at this point, so we're pushing them to get through quickly, so.
That's awful. That's an awful.
When you're 270 days in liquidated damages, it's hard to say.
Huh. And why is that? I mean,
The contractor that we have on that project has about 4 other projects of ours, plus, who knows, I don't know how many others, and I think they've overextended themselves.
might there be a way to get a hold of that contractor and find out when the time frame is when he will be through with those?
Yeah, and I believe, yes, we will do that.
Okay. If you could email me, or that would be great.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
I guess one of the questions that if they're in liquidated damages on one, is it also on the others or just that one project?
They have been in liquidated damages on others too.
Sean?
Yeah. Is this the one that won some more bids after this?
Are they gonna be on the list? Is that what you're asking?
Well, it seems like I've heard that this same company has won more bids.
I believe that's correct. They've been awarded additional work.
What's are they the,
They end up being the lowest bidder. They do put out a good project, it's just, we're having to push them to complete because of the actual. And we have rejected the bid and with others, just because, I mean, even though they were lowest bidder.
I'll get with you later and kind of get a better understanding of that, but every time it's mentioned, it don't sound right. They're in liquidated damages, and then they win some more. That's gonna be that much longer. I'll get with you later.
Okay.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And thank you. Anyone else? You?
Just, would you by chance know how many days on Moonshine Highway, when their completion date was supposed to be?
Now, it's,
Moonshine Highway?
it is under construction right now. I
Right.
think it's,
Supposed to be in next Tuesday.
I'm thinking it's about 20%. They just started.
Do you know how many days they were given on the contract?
Oh, how many days in the contract? I don't know that I have that down, but it's.
We can get the answer and email it to you,
Hey,
Counselor.
please do.
It's 60 to 90 days.
Okay.
And anyone else? Thank you.
Make sure that she sends that to Gail.
Okay.
She doesn't,
to
Counselor
everybody.
Shambo. And if we keep sending this guy these bids, and he has those, and he's already spread too thin, is there not anybody else out there that's Terrell certified?
I'm sure there are other Carroll certified contractors. He just always happens to be the lowest bid.
Maybe we need to look at the criteria. If you're not completed with so many projects and you're still bidding, we shouldn't be giving them the bid. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Gary Cooper.
I'm just trying to use some common sense here.
Good afternoon. I think y'all have a written report. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those for you, or try to. I think just the only thing I want to report is I usually try to give you some information on this. I think it's been a while since I've given it to you before. We have 235 employees over at the Housing Authority. 98.7 of those are Indian. 0.01% is non-Indian. If we look at just Cherokee only, it's 95.3% is our Cherokee employees. think it's been a long time since I've reported that, and every now and then someone asks me, so I just wanted to be sure to report that to you. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Okay, any questions for Gary Cooper? Harlan?
Gary, if
Yes,
a
sir.
person applied today for a new house, how long are we telling them that?
We never tell anyone any amount of time because we really don't know. There's a number of things that goes into that, including whether or not they claim to have land or they don't. And even with folks who say they have land, whenever they actually do come up on the waiting list and we pull them from the waiting list and we go out and inspect their land, it's not a buildable site. We've seen everything from, down next to on the creek bank to, up on the side of the mountain or up on the side of the hill. So it's really difficult to say because there's too many unknown factors that go into that. But I believe there's several hundred people on the waiting list right now.
Well, I know I've had some said we've been signed up for this long, and I understand, when you go to look at the deed, there's some things that's not right on the deed.
Sure, and if, I'll be more than happy to check into that, because I get calls from people, we've been signed up for 3 years, and I look at their application. You signed up not even, 12 months ago. Yeah. So, I'll be more than happy to get you a little bit more background on a particular one.
So you've got several that's ready to go.
Sure, yeah, we have some actually that we're getting ready to go out for, in the next month or two on contract. Yeah, putting the bids out probably the end of this month, first part of December, we'll put the bids out.
Thanks, sir.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Gary, we've got several hundred lined up for housing. Is that with land or without or both or what?
Both.
With land, just kind of a guesstimate, what?
It's really hard to say. There's more people that come in every day and apply.
Sure.
I think on this last report I did for you, about 771 of 1,800 have land. So that would probably put it at, 3+ year wait roughly. It just kind of varies on the number of people that come in and if that land is actually buildable or not. And that also includes, ones that we're currently working on now, including those ones that I was just telling Councilor Buzzard that we're getting ready to go out for a contract on. I think there's about 90 some on.
So there's
those.
like 700 with land, and they're in the queue somewhere. And so there's.
That claim they have land. I want to
Yeah.
I want to make sure that
Right.
part's clear.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
I understand. And so is that 200 houses a year? What I mean is, do the foundation, finish the house in 1 year, in a calendar year's time?
It depends.
I realize the paperwork on land sometimes is a real problem. You've shared that with us.
Sure. And a lot of it depends too on how quickly HUD can get us the, because they're all on individual 184 loans is how we finance those. So a lot of it has to do with factors outside of our control.
So is that 200 houses a year being built?
Yeah, roughly. That's a kind of an estimate. And it varies. I think right now there's 600 and I think whenever this report was done for you last time, there was a little over 600 with that have been completed, and there's more being completed every day.
And essentially, are you telling people if they're qualified this year that you'll start them, you may be able to start them if they're on that list at the right place next spring and finish them up during the year?
We do not until we actually start pulling a waiting list to pull a new project, to get ready to start. It's an ongoing process. So we have different phases that different folks are in. So, one is just, on a waiting list. One is, we've actually are doing the site inspections, getting all the utility stuff ready and everything like that. The next, one step is abstracting and surveying and all of that stuff. One is actually it's ready to go, construction's ready to be started, and then one is actually under construction. And I think that there's, I don't remember exactly what the number is right now that's under construction, and then there's the 90-some that I was telling Mr. Buzzard about that's getting ready to go out for contract.
Are they being built around the calendar year? Or
Yeah, it's an ongoing process. It goes on all the time.
Doesn't stop for Christmas or
No.
first of the year?
No.
Okay.
Now, there's some going, as project houses are being built now, there will be more going out for bid. Those will be going on. It's an ongoing deal. There's houses going on, houses being built at all times during the year. It's not all of these are done and then we start more. It's a revolving door, so to speak.
So if you have 700, 246, so that's over a 3-year waiting period
Yeah,
for that person
thereabouts.
that's number 700
Sure.
that has land.
That, yes, it can be.
If they've legitimately have
That's,
marketable title.
that right there's the key. Because that's always the
Sound
unknown.
like a lawyer.
You're getting
Okay.
That's always the kicker right there. Is that they actually have the land.
Buell Langland, did you have your hand up, sir?
No, you asked the question I was
Oh,
gonna
okay.
ask, so. Got the
Well,
numbers,
you
I
could have
guess.
asked it better, I know, sir. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Will you be here for after the end of our meeting, or are you leaving now, or as soon as you're done here?
Yeah, I'll stick around.
Okay.
And just so you know too, usually I always try to be here a little bit early too, just in case anyone has any questions. But yeah, I'm sure stick around for me.
Thank you.
On the business, do you go by area, like so many in Sequoia County, it's
No.
just all over?
It's an ongoing process. Every application we get for any of our programs, it's recorded by the date and time we get it in our hand, and that's how we build our waiting list. So it's just an ongoing deal on how we do that.
Okay.
But we try to be as fair to everyone as we can be. So a person who turned in their application first is the one that gets their house first, and so on. But there's folks in every county.
Anyone else?
If an applicant was to inquire about where they stood, you're just going to give them the approximate time? You won't give them the number where they
No.
are, but you'll say, you're probably about 2 years out, 3
Yeah.
years out.
Usually what we do is we look and see, the thing I would do is I look at our computers to see what date and time they actually did apply,
Okay.
and say, I show that that you applied on this date, does that sound right?
Okay.
And then give them an estimate based on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Are we talking about, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about a new home, or?
That's what
recommend-
these questions were
Okay.
related to.
But,
Yes.
I mean, we're talking really about a 3-year wait though, right?
Sure.
So that's 3 years, okay.
Appreciate it, Gary.
You bet.
Where we at? Anna Knight.
You should have a copy of my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about it.
Okay. Any questions?
The iSave program, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
The iSave program, we talked about changes to 3-to-1. Talked about getting financial figures together. Is that in
And
the
I thought I was
rearview
gonna
mirror?
get by without having to answer that one. I came that close. Now, we're still working on those. The issue is that we're trying to figure out a timeline, which is requiring our counselors in between all of their counseling sessions to look at over 700 files in order to actually get in there and look at when we think they may be withdrawing their money. So we're still working on the timeline and scenarios with finance as to what possible solutions or scenarios might be to present to the council.
Harley Buzzer.
Anna, maybe I'm not explain this to me. Gary just said that all his applicants go to 184. Now, you also handle 184 on them, is that right? Through mortgage assistance?
The majority of our mortgage assistance participants do use 184
Okay.
loans. They're loans that they're getting at banks, and they're getting.
So this is completely different than what Gary's doing and you're doing with 184 mortgage assistance.
Right,
Okay,
because the
okay.
mortgage assistance program helps people become instant homeowners, where they take title to the home immediately, and they have a mortgage, and we place a soft second mortgage. And Gary's program is where the housing authority is actually building the house and then leasing it to the individuals for a certain period of time. It's a lease to purchase program.
So you don't actually see all of his housing applicants at?
Oh, no.
Okay, you don't do 184.
No,
I'm
we
just
haven't.
wondering if he gets applicants that don't qualify for 184, what he does then.
In his instance, and he could answer better than I, but he just skipped out the back. It's the housing authority that's taken out the 184 loan.
Okay, yeah, okay, I understand that now.
So, yeah. So his
So they actually
tenants.
apply through housing authority.
Right,
And then
right.
the housing authority has already got the loan. I
Right.
see.
And they can
Okay.
refinance it on an
Okay.
individual basis if they can
So
qualify.
you're not in that loop to housing authority. Okay, all right, well, it kind of threw me when he said that. I knew he took the loan out, but I didn't know how that worked, if they came back to you or not. Okay, thank you, I think I understand.
You bet. Anyone else? Thank you. Anna.
Thank you.
Indian Child Welfare.
That one too.
Rob Doherty.
Ask him which one he's giving.
This one too. Hey, this is our first time, not my first time to the group, but first time to this committee. And it was suggested, Mr. Chairman asked if I could report what we do in the community and so forth. And what we're passing out here is just a brief kind of 101, as we used to know it as CAUTA. And it's just an information packet. And we get several phone calls, and usually I have to transfer them to the person that's the main contact person for each project. So they're all listed here with their contact information and the report. If you have any questions, I will gladly try to answer them and so forth with our technical assistance and our community. Most of the time you see me doing a culture report, but this is, and it's hard to separate culture and community because that's where we do our culture presentation and so forth. But this is just strictly a lot of the different things that's happening in the community. And if you saw in your report, we had 13 organizations this past month in October receive technical assistance. And with each one, it identifies which district they're in. And we've had 3 new ones in October seek to work with us. And Councilman Warner, one is in your area, and Council Crittenton or Frankie, They have another one in the area. Another one is a Elsinore River Community Organization, so I'm not sure if it's yours, okay? So those are the 3 new ones that are gaining recognition through our program for assistance and so forth. So there's just a packet to give you information if you have a specific question. The main contact person for that is listed on there. And with that, we're really, a lot of the trainings that is listed on there, it's for 2018, but for, we're almost done with the month of November with the holidays coming up. We have no trainings in December and January, obviously because of the weather, unpredictable. But we do have a lot of community buildings, community meetings scheduled that we go to. An example, this past weekend, I went to 2 of them, one at Oak Hill and one in Uchi, which Councilman Shambaugh was there trying to play marbles in the council, so forth. And I think Thursday night there's one in Fairfield, and there's another one tomorrow night, I believe, at Mid-County. So all of you, this is, of course, we go there and we're asked to eat. We hate that, but this is Thanksgiving, the holiday, so there's a lot of community meetings, and I've asked the staff to avail themselves to attend all of those meetings as much as they can. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Rob, this is a good report. Here you are already into 18.
Yes.
And you're planning, so you're ahead of the game, and I like the report on the ones that receive technical assistance. You know, as we go into these communities, we as council members, when we have ours, it would be helpful if we should, I guess we could do that ourselves, but you could help us, is how many members? If I say Chewy community, somebody say, well, we've got 90 tribal members there. You know, usually we can't say that. We just say we had a big crowd. We had 150 people. Somewhere in there, it'd be good if somebody listed how many members are in Fairfield, Marble City, and Kenwood.
Each event.
We would know the numbers there. It'd be helpful to us.
Each event, we have a sign-in sheet. We make that available, and with their information and so forth. Yes, it would be, because they vary. In their meetings that they have, sometimes it's just a board with a few people there, but if it's an event put on by them with our assistance, or we have training, we have quite a few.
I want you guys to help me with the Rocky Ford.
Okay.
That's been established back probably 7 or 8 years ago, and they have an elderly group there, but they said they were inactive. They only meet like once every 3 months, and they were wanting some help there. So I think they're ready to come back together and unite and see where we can
Just have them contact us,
Yeah,
one of
okay.
our TAs or
Okay.
the office, somebody.
All right, but this is a good
We'll help
report. Good job.
Sure.
It's not done that, Rob.
Oh, well, no.
I appreciate the contact list.
Yeah.
That's, gives us another number to call to.
You just won't be transferred by me, that's what, because I have transferred you a couple times. Yes.
I know you visit all the communities throughout the United States as well. Would that follow under this brochure too? Sometimes it, you know.
No, this is just the in-district or
Just
community,
in-district,
yes.
okay.
With the COTA program.
It does have the.
It has a at-large in there too as well.
Okay.
But for the most part,
Just for the,
Mm-hmm.
this area. Okay. Thank you, Rob.
we could do one similar to that for that one too.
I think that would be awesome, and I think it would really educate,
Mm-hmm.
you know, everyone on the things, because y'all do such a, there's so much effort put into that, and you all do such a wonderful job, our artists and everybody that works under your department, and I think it'd be really helpful. Several of our tribal members have attended,
Mm-hmm.
and, I mean, if it's like in your budget, or,
Okay.
but I think it'd be, or just, you know, a little report sometimes, I think it'd be.
Okay.
And I have 5,000
Do that.
pictures. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Harley Buzzer.
Rob, I'm going to compliment your department for this book. I have asked, I brought it up in some committees, that we need a resources book for tribal council members here with names and telephone numbers. Secretary of State, are you here? There you go. But this is the most helpful thing that you can give to a council member.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
sir.
I thought everybody just called the SOS and he directed us where to go. That's all I do, you know. I just harass Chuck all about everything. Rob, good look, and I think
Well,
I saw somebody
Thank you.
hand up right here. John, did you have your hand up?
No, I was asking Keith if he stole my book here.
For the record, he was trying to steal mine.
You need,
We got one.
Thank you, thank you.
When we have the next CCL meeting, where you bring in all our cultural leaders from the outskirts and they come in for a meeting?
oh, it won't be until June. And that's an event, and we'll let you all know ahead of time, because I want everybody there, because we poured in on that one there, so it'll be in June. We're still negotiating for a place and everything else, so. You mean the big one that we have, that we bring in, okay. Last year, I think we had about 567 people at our conference.
Will we bring in our outreach leaders at any time where they set agendas or where they discuss our cultural needs in different areas?
The cultural, that part of it, we meet 2 days in a general session with 500 people. And then the folks that come in, one representative from each of our at-large, when they come in, we have a 3-day, we call it the cultural portion of it, and then our local communities also. And we involve the local communities as well.
One more.
Yes.
I want to thank you for the memorial, the memory of Roy Hamilton that you put in this book. But it's very well deserved.
Yeah, we're, tell you what, there's not a day goes by somebody says, we need Roy back. And that guy was just unbelievable. So, thank you very much for recognizing that.
Anyone else? We're gonna put you on this committee full-time from now on. I know sometimes you won't be here, but if you could send somebody else, we appreciate it.
Well done, thank you.
Thank you. Right. And where are we at? Old business, none pending. New business, none pending. Any announcements for y'all? No announcements. I'll take a motion to adjourn. All in favor?